Hi guys, good morning if you are in Philippines and good evening if you are in United States of America. This is Dr. Jenny Yusuf, Physical Therapist and Doctor of Physical Therapy, creator and founder of Balance and Fall Support Group in Aging Adults. So every Thursday, we featured an innovator, entrepreneur, physical therapists, and academicians. So for tonight, we will have and learn more about activator polls from urban polling. And very well, some of you has your own activator. So we'll get a review, and Mandy Shintani showed us how to use that. And we need some reinforcement and review for that, right? So we learned about how to use for dancing, lots of exercise for osteoporosis, arthritis, and now we will have a review. What is activator pulse for other clinicians who's not familiar with it? And for tonight, we have Dr. Joy Cochran, and she's from Wisconsin, and she's a physical therapist, doctor of physical therapy, credentialed exercise expert in aging adults. She's also a specialist in LSVT BIG and also in power, rock steady boxing. Imagine all for Parkinson's disease, you have her. She's really a movement expert. And also credentialed balance and falls professional from the APTA. So we will learn how to use the activator pole. And without further ado, Dr. Joy, thank you for having us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dr. Jenny. I appreciate being here.
Yes, my pleasure. So tell us more about yourself. As a physical therapist, what setting are you in right now?
I actually, I just do PRN at an inpatient rehab facility. I have worked in all settings, acute, inpatient rehab, and most recently in the outpatient setting. I specialize in treating neuro clients and older adults, but I started my own company, and so I have pretty much moved out of the clinical setting, except for, like I said, the PRN of working at the inpatient rehab.
Wow, I'm also now in inpatient rehab. That's really nice, right?
I
Used
love
to
it.
be home
Yes.
health. Yes, that's really nice. Yeah. So in inpatient rehab, what are your challenges right now? Like a little bit challenging cases and your wins after seeing them.
Yeah, actually, if we're looking specifically at the activator polls, I love using them in inpatient rehab because there's so many of those clients that maybe they're just getting there and they can't even get out of bed. So if you have a short session, or they're still working on really just trying to stand up or get accustomed to being sitting upright, I can take the poles easily into their room. We can sit at the edge of the bed, work on posture, breathing exercises, really kind of working on some weight shifting back and forth. So they can be beneficial, not just in standing and walking, but they're so versatile. I take them into the clients' rooms a lot and just use them in the sitting position.
Oh, yes, yes, because they're still fragile. So lots of bed exercises option for that, right? So
Yes.
there's no excuse that you cannot go to the gym. I have it here with you.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
another reminder for home health therapists, because it's so portable. I have it in my car and you can do anything with that.
And you can easily wipe them down, but they're so functional to work on transfers, to work on that weight shifting either laterally or forward and back for sit to stands, all of those things that they can be helpful for.
Thank you so much. That's a good tip. So let's see. I believe you prepared a nice webinar for us to learn more about the activator polls, where we can use it. It is from Urban Polling. So it says activator polls for Parkinson's, especially it's Parkinson's Awareness Month, guys. So Dr. Joy prepared a webinar for us. Thank you so much for this, Dr. Joy.
Excellent. Let me just get it pulled up here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it as a presentation?
No, not yet.
No, not
That's
yet.
just your presenter slide. Yeah.
Oh, well, then let me do this.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. You're good. Take it away,
Excellent.
Dr. Joy.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We've already gone through this, but I just want to kind of point out that I do really specialize in people with Parkinson's. It's one of my passion projects. And so I am Power Move certified rock steady boxing, as well as LSVT BIG. And just to give you a little idea for those that have not been or seen a presentation on urban pulling, we're going to just look at some ways that we can use them.
Eyes are up. Give it a go.
That second portion is at the Power Retreat, actually, in Arizona, and it's a really fun activity to do while we're there. And I'm very excited I get to go for my first time this year. But let's just start with a background on urban polling. So it was founded in 2005 by an occupational therapist and gerontologist, Mandy, who I believe has already spoke to you before. She really was trying to find a way to keep her aging parents active. And the idea for Nordic walking originated from a recommendation by her Swedish neighbor, who said walking poles are a part of their culture for the young and old alike. So knowing that, Swedes are one of the healthiest people in the world. So Mandy went and did some research and found that there was a lot of evidence supporting the benefits of Nordic walking. So from there, she modified the original walking poles to increase safety for older adults and those in rehab, but she also retained the integrity of their benefits as a wellness tool. So now Deanna, who is the current owner, embodies the value of excellence in all that we do. We not only have superior product from others that are out there, we also really value education, service, and really making sure that everybody that uses us, the end user and the therapist, has great customer service. And we value our partnerships. And we are partners with, like I said, Power. We just showed that we were at their retreat. We are partners with Rocksteady Boxing and have a special program for them. And we are just starting to work with LSVT BIG. So all specific for those with Parkinson's. But today, let's hear from more people that really value the polls. So this is Larry Gifford. He is actually a podcast presenter for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, as well as for Parkinson's in Canada. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's at a pretty young age of 40, and he had been having some increased falls. So let's hear what he has to say about the polls.
The activator polls should be called confidence polls.
I love that.
Because it really is for at least for me, it's what gives me the confidence to go into a crowd, to go through an airport, to go on a hike, to take a longer walk. Yeah. Like it gives me enough certainty to say yes. So thank you for making them.
Oh, well, thank you.
I think it's really powerful, right, to hear how beneficial they can be. And today, actually, we hear from more people with Parkinson's than any other condition, telling us about the life-changing effects that they have had on their lives. But not only do we have testimonials, we actually have the research. So we have over 360 specific articles talking about how Nordic walking is beneficial for people. We also have 18 independent research studies on Nordic walking, specifically for people with Parkinson's, and we have 18 current ongoing studies for using the actual activator poles specifically. So we're not going to dive into all of the research today, but I really wanted to touch on this research that was just in general, how we can look at the research and what some of the key rehab goals are for people with Parkinson's. So we are looking at improving upright posture, right? So that postural instability that we see in so many of our clients, we want to increase balance and strength. We're going to promote bigger movements, right? So that bradykinesia that we see with our patients, we are going to get bigger movements, just by using the poles. They have helped, and they show that they reduce stiffness or that rigidity by using them. We can challenge coordination. We can improve gait pattern. They help to decrease the freezing. They increase walking speed, intensity, endurance. They help with that flat effect. They help with getting people more expressive, getting people out and doing things so that they're not depressed and have less anxiety, and really be able to help people interact and be a part of their community. So one specific research article that's out there called Physiotherapy in Parkinson's Disease, it's a meta-analysis in 2020 by Ratter. And the overall study had 191 trials with 7,998 participants. Those trials were classified into multiple different divisions, but the specific one for Nordic walking, the conclusions showed that Nordic walking intervention significantly improved. So that meant that there was a moderately large effect on motor symptoms, balance, as well as their gait outcomes. And I think that's huge. And like I said, there's other articles that are out there, but for time today, we are not going to be able to touch on all of them. But let's take a step back and define some of the terms that I've been throwing out there, right? So Nordic walking is defined as cross-country skiing without the skis. It actually started as an off-season training option for Olympic cross-country skiers. Nordic walking is said to be one of the best aerobic exercises available, with studies showing that it increases calorie expenditure by 20 to 46%. So we know that people with Parkinson's need to get that moderate to high intensity exercise in there. And by adding poles, we can help do that. Urban poling, the only difference between urban poling and Nordic walking is that urban poling uses specialized poles that do not have the strap on them. So they have strap, we modified them to have strapless feature. And that is for some safety purposes, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So then what does the activator mean that we keep talking about as well? So the activator poles and the activator technique were designed by an occupational therapist and gerontologist, specifically adding some of those safety features to target our rehab patients for deficits such as posture, balance, and pain, to name a few. And we will talk about those a little bit more as well. But Nordic walking is such a great activity that the World Confederation for Physical Therapy named one of the best exercises for strength and balance, right? So let's take a look at why they did this. For strengthening, right? We have so many people that enjoy walking, and they get out there, they start walking. It's something that we have to do functionally, right? We have to go to the mailbox and get our mail. We have to be able to walk around the house. We need to go get our groceries, right? But when we're just generally walking, we're only using our lower extremity. So just by adding poles, we get a total body workout. We are actually activating 90% of our muscles. So we are getting core workout now, we're getting an arm workout, right? And who doesn't want to have a better workout? And for some of those people, it's not just strengthening, but it's also providing that balance for them to get out and do more things. And so they have a better activity tolerance. So how does this work, right? So if you take a look at our poles, that has this ledge on them. And so if you rest your hand on this ledge and you push straight down into that ledge, your core is going to activate, your arms are going to activate. And so it is said that for every 1,000 steps, which is about 10 or 15 minutes, you are going to be getting 1,000 core activations, okay? 500 latissimus dorsi activations. And on top of that, we're getting our arms moving. So we need our clients to be able to swing their arms. So it forces them to have that motion. But a lot of our clients also have maybe some range of motion issues, painful shoulders. And so when they're walking, they're not having to swing their arms. These are allowing them to get that gentle, increased range of motion to help get them moving again and maybe get rid of some of that pain. And not just with walking, but with standing exercises, right? So if you look at this group right here, they are shifting their weight from side to side. So every time they shift their weight to the side, they're pushing into that ledge. So they're not only getting some lower extremity exercises happening right here, but they're also getting that core and those arms activated. In addition, they have the confidence with these pulls in their hand, right? 2 additional points of contact to get that larger weight shift from side to side so we can get some bigger movements going again. And then let's look at it for balance, right? So we definitely know that most of our clients need help with balance. They have decreased stepping size, they have decreased stepping length. So the safety of using the poles is that by putting them in their hands, we get them out of the parallel bars, right? So now they're working on more of their really balanced strategies instead of their reaching strategies. So they're having to take and make a reaction based on perturbations. In addition, we're able to take our hands off of them. And we know that research shows that as soon as we touch our patient to guard them, it alters how they react to perturbations. So really what we're doing is allowing them to naturally react, and so that they're getting those bigger, faster movements, and they're normalizing it so that over time and repetition, they're able to take and recover to prevent a fall faster, and so that it is helping them with their fall recovery as well. And then one more testimonial. This is from Bill Truen. He actually has completed 23 half marathons with the Activator poles. He personally says, I've noticed the benefits. They stay with me for several hours after pulling. And he specifically classified benefits that he was referring to as increased fluidity, increased coordination, less freezing, and increased speed. So really looking at these poles as not just poles to be able to have in the clinic to be able to use, but they're ones that can transition over and ones that people enjoy using so that we can get some compliance with those home exercises, right? So not just exercises, but they're able to use them out in their community. So I think that if you look back to what we just talked about, we talked about increasing intensity, we talked about strengthening by using the poles, we talked about balance using the poles, as well as some flexibility. And this touches on all the key components that the Parkinson's Foundation put together for their exercise recommendations for those with Parkinson's. And these recommendations were based on a collaboration with the ACSM, as well as other professionals that specifically work with patients with Parkinson's. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the key features that set the Activator poles apart from other poles that are on the market. One of the ones that I really like pointing out is that there's this key lock system. So you lock the poles into place and they're not going anywhere. Whereas most poles have a twist lock, which if you have people that have weak grip strength, or if they have arthritis in their hands, they might not get it twisted tight enough. And so what happens is that it collapses and it defeats the purpose of using it. So by locking it into place, it allows them the security to know that it's not going anywhere. It also allows them, if they need to be putting a little bit more weight through the pole, maybe they have a little bit of a foot drop or that one side isn't clearing quite as well, our weights are weighted up to 200 pounds per pole. So most other poles are less than 90. So you know that they're safe for people. And if you have people that are weighing a little bit more, we also have what's called the Activator 2 poles. We're not going to go into those today, but we do have another alternatives for people that maybe are a little bit taller and weigh a little bit more. These poles also come with this nice bell bottom. And so if you look at that surface area, it is a lot bigger than other bottoms that you're going to find out there. And so what that does is help to support and keep the poles in a nice upright position for balance. The other big key thing, and that one that I've already talked about, is this core ledge, right? So it helps with strengthening, it helps with balance because their hand just rests right on top of it. It also helps to offload joints. So if you have clients that have painful joints, a lot of our clients have comorbidities. They not just are diagnosed with Parkinson's, but they also maybe have some lower back pain, or a lot of my clients have pain because they haven't been moving from that rigidity of Parkinson's. So if we can get them moving more, right, they're able to offload some of their joint pain onto the poles. It helps them to have increased activity tolerance. So it's just a snowball effect that they are then feeling better after they start moving more with the poles. And the last thing I want to highlight here is that, you know, we do have an ease of use certification from the Arthritis Foundation. And so that they have deemed our poles as having a little bit bigger of a lead or handle right here, so people aren't having to death grip and squeeze. And then just by being able to have that offloading of the joints by having that ledge, that's great as well. So I'm trying to fit a lot of stuff in a short period of time. So I apologize if I feel like I'm going really fast, but I did want to also talk about the comparison to other assistive devices that are out there, right? So we have so many people that are using walkers, and we know that as soon as they put their hands on that walker, they're leaning forward. And once you lean forward, it deactivates the core. And we want people to get as strong as they can in that proximal area so that they have better balance. So the poles allow people to stand up nice and tall. They also allow you to stand up symmetrically, right? And so that's one of the key drawbacks of a cane, is that you put a cane in their hand and they automatically go to one side. So by using a cane, you're altering how people's joints are moving. You're altering how your muscles are firing. And over time, there's going to be wear and tear, which could increase pain. So poles really allow for people to get that nice symmetrical upright posture, right? They allow for that arm swing that's not allowed when you're holding on to the walker. And it also keeps your wrist in a neutral position, whereas both the walker and the cane put that wrist in that hyperextended position, which also could create some wear and tear issues. So let's look at some side-by-sides. These are my favorite things to do because it really highlights the difference between what the poles can actually do for people with Parkinson's. So let's take a look here. As you can tell in the first one, her arms aren't swinging at all. You can tell she's a little hesitant about even walking on that uneven surface. By putting the poles in her hands on the right-hand side, she's taking much bigger steps. You can tell she's more confident just in the way she's holding herself. She's more upright, right? On the picture in the left, she's definitely shifted over to that right-hand side. So overall, she's increased her step length, she's increased her stride length, she's now swinging her arms, and she's in definitely more upright, symmetrical position. One of the other things that is nice, the activator poles, some of our clients don't need them so much for balance. Maybe they need them more for a fitness tool to increase that walking speed. Our poles can easily have the bottoms taken off and those booties that are like in the picture put on, and then they can walk with them in what's considered the urban poling technique, which is a little bit faster technique. As you'll notice in this picture, the poles are more perpendicular and behind them, so it's helping them to propel forward faster. That could be another option. The poles also help with intensity and the ability to walk on various surfaces, right? So many times I put the poles in people's hands and they look at me and they're like, oh my gosh, now I can go walk out across my driveway, my gravel driveway, and go to the barn and feed my animals again. I can walk to the mailbox. I can go to the park with my grandkids and be able to feel confident enough to walk on the grass. And so really what we need to do, and what the picture on the right is showing, is that this guy is using major high intensity hill, right? So it's increasing his ability to be able to go up that. And we know that dopamine producing zones are between 70 and 90%. So we are really helping to have the confidence and the ability to increase that intensity as well as different surface areas. And here's just a great example of how they look and how they help this gentleman with Parkinson's walk on the sand.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm going.
I've talked to this gentleman extensively, and he told me the poles have just really improved his quality of life, right? Like he can go do the things that he wants to do now. There's a huge difference in being able to, they love going down to Florida. Like now he can walk on the sand again. It's amazing. And that's what it's all about, right? Like we're here to help our clients to be as independent as they can be for as long as they can be. So the other thing, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that they are not only beneficial in the clinic, they are beneficial as a lifelong tool, whether that be for exercises, whether that be for walking and helping them with balance, or whether that be for them to be able to use them as a fitness tool. But it's not just for them, right? They can get other people involved. And so it can be an activity that they can enjoy with their family, that they can enjoy with their grandkids, like I said, all the way up to other people, maybe as a support group or something like that. So there's less stigma also around using poles than some of the other devices. And so I think it adds the confidence and more of an ability tool than a disability tool. There's less stigma. And just to end here, this gentleman in the middle is one of my specific clients. And he actually, I met him at the Wisconsin Parkinson's Association event. I did a quick demo on the poles, and we were at the Botanical Gardens and they were going to go on a tour. And so he bought the poles and he went to go out. And I said, use the poles, see what you think of them since you're just using them. He came back with tears in his eyes. And he says to me, he's like, Joy, he goes, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had Parkinson's. I was able to walk in that group of people without feeling like I was going to fall over. I could enjoy myself. I could look around and enjoy the scenery. He's like, it was amazing. And I actually talked to him a few months later, and he goes, I went home and started using them and walking with them. And I always walk by where my daughter works. And I walked by the very first day, and her coworker was like, oh, your dad's out walking. And she said, that's not my dad. He's like, she had to take like a triple take because I was walking so much better with the poles that she didn't even recognize me at first. So again, just another great example of the benefits of being able to use the poles. So with that, I just want to let everybody know some of the other great things that we have going on a regular basis. We have webinars and podcasts every single month, but specifically this month for Parkinson's awareness, we have a free webinar coming up on the 27th, where we're really highlighting how the Activator poles can be incorporated into community exercise classes. We have a podcast coming out. If it's not out right now, it should be out in the next day or two. In regards to, we had a great discussion with Sharon Kirscher. She's the founder of Twitchy Woman, and it talks about her journey with Parkinson's, how she's making a difference for other people with Parkinson's, and it highlights the upcoming World Parkinson's Congress, because herself and us are both going to be going to Barcelona, Spain to represent at the World Parkinson's Congress in July, so we're both pretty excited about that. But all of these things can be found at www.urbanpolling.com. If you are not on our newsletters, please reach out and you can get put on our newsletters as well. And with that, I want to thank you guys for spending your time with us today and learning more about the Activator poles. I hope that you learned how they can be incorporated with some of your clients as well.
That's amazing. I really love those testimonials. Thank you so much. And if you can see Dr. Joy, the one when he walked under this in the sand, the bottom is really different. They have different grips. You can really adjust. You have a bell bottom. You have those that you can adjust, right? Is it also from the urban polling?
Yeah, so we have the bell bottoms that have the bigger surface for more balance. We also have the booties that we showed in that one, and that's for the faster walking to help propel you forward. You can also take the bottoms off, and there's a carbide tip. So the carbide tip is really great to be able to use on, you can use it in the sand, you can use it on snow, ice, right? So if you know you have to go out on ice, even though we try not to walk on ice, this is going to be a great thing to grip into it. Even on dirt when you're out on the trails, if you're only going to be on trails, then you can take off the bottoms as well. Cement, I would always make sure that you have some kind of our bottoms on.
Yes, I like that. So at least you guys have different options on whatever terrain or surfaces you're going to. And these are all amazing. We can say that this is more on for the presentation for the Parkinson's, but definitely I saw your model there with already the abs highlighted. So this is all for us, older and aging adults, and definitely
So
we give to our Parkinson's clients too. Right, Dr. Joy.
absolutely. And I learned about the pulse specifically for my clients with Parkinson's, but I very quickly in the clinic switched it over to, I was seeing like, oh my gosh, my balance client could work on this. Oh my gosh. And actually one of the best ways for me to implement them was when I finally started using them myself. I'm getting great benefits from them, but it also helps to create ideas for my clients, right? So I'm walking my dogs with them. I have a waist belt. And so whenever I go out, I'm walking the dogs with them. When I go hiking, I use them and they come in really handy because sometimes if I go for longer hikes, they're helping me get down that hill again. But then a few days later, I'll be like, ooh, my arms are sore. Oh yeah, I use my poles and I hadn't used them in a while. So even myself, I can feel the benefits of them. So
Yeah,
that delayed onset muscle soreness that we were always telling our clients about, I can feel them for sure when I use the poles.
exactly. And also, I remember my husband had an accident back February, and that's what he doesn't want to use a walker. That's what they prescribed for him. And he used the activator pole and giving him a little bit more unbalance because it's more on the hip that was affected that time. So that's really good. Yes,
Yep, we see
so
that we
much.
use them for ortho patients, pre and post hip and knee surgery. A lot of our vestibular patients are younger and they don't want to be using a cane and a walker, right? Like that, just being able to use the poles makes them feel less, like I said, that stigma of being old and stuff like that. So
Mhm. I think you're still sharing, so I would like to highlight you. Let me see. All right.
yeah.
Okay, yes, yes. I keep thinking, all right, those are amazing presentation. Thank you, sir, for your webinar, Dr. Joy. And definitely we will learn more about you. You said that you have April 27 free webinar as well. So we will going to share all those things. So how can we connect with you? Especially for clinicians looking forward to learn more about the activator they want to purchase for their clinic or for themselves or for the patients.
Absolutely. So specifically, if you have questions for me, you can reach me at joy.cochran, that's Cochran, at urbanpolling.com. And like I said, if you're looking for any information on our webinars, our programs, our course, we have a course coming up specifically for our Parkinson's wellness course. It is on May 27th. And that's on our website as well. And it is a 4-hour continuing education course that goes into all of the research details and has more specific exercises on how to use the poles with Parkinson's, how to use we'll go into the detailed techniques of how to do the activator technique, how to use the urban polling technique. So it is a great course.
Nice. Thank you so much. All right. And I believe, is it also available in Amazon at some point?
So the poles themselves, yes, you can get them on Amazon. But as a professional, you can also reach out to Urban Polling and you can get professional pricing.
Because some of them, they just refer to their clients and it's available in Amazon just for ease, but definitely.
Just make sure that because there's so many polls in Amazon, make sure that they're telling them to get the activator polls.
Yes, gotcha. And also directly, if you have your clinic, you can also buy in bulk and then have it also for your patients in the future. So thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy. So this is an amazing Parkinson's awareness presentation for our clients. So we will beat Parkinson's with different techniques. And I love all those videos. And I really learn more about those latissimus dorsi and then how many times it's been like fired, We just know that it will be fired by doing that. And nice video or nice imaging about those presentation comparison with the with the trunk flexion with those different kinds of assistive device. So thank you for your time again, Dr. Joy. Do you have any closing tips or remarks for our Balance and Fall support group aging members?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jenny, for having me. And I very much look forward to the Geriatric Summit that's going to be happening in July. So we'll go into more details then in regards to the older adults, and I'll give some more testimonials as well as videos because I think they're so powerful. So more to come for sure in the next presentation. But thank you very much.
You are welcome. Yes, guys. Dr. Joy is one of our presenter for the upcoming Geriatric Rehab Summit. It will be on July 28 and 29 this year. All right. So we have more than 10 speakers. And of course, Urban Polling is one of our gold sponsor, and we will learn more about the Activator poll. All right. Thank you, guys. And it's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf, Physical Therapist and Doctor Physical Therapy, Vice Chair of Global Health in Aging Adults, and your Certified Exercise Expert and Geriatric Clinical Specialist. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Dr. Joy.